Hello, and welcome to today's webinar from Practical E-commerce, Lessons from High-Performing B2B E-commerce Sellers. I'm Lori McDonald. I've been a contributor to Practical E-commerce on the topic of B2B e-commerce since 2015. Let me start by sharing a bit of my story and professional background. I went to Purdue in computer electrical engineering, and through an internship opportunity, I ended up at NASA Johnson Space Center, where I eventually worked as a flight controller for the Space Shuttle program. It was an amazing opportunity. I ended up meeting my husband there. He also was in engineering at Purdue, and he was a part of the same internship program, and he eventually worked as a flight controller for the Space Shuttle program as well. When we graduated from college, my husband went to work for Rockwell Automation, and I went to work full-time at NASA. We both lived in Houston, Texas. And a few years later, my husband had a job promotion opportunity that brought us to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where Rockwell's headquarters are. It was 1998, and I was trying to figure out what could be as cool as space. I decided to start a web development company. As you likely know, in 1998, the web was in its infancy, and so it was an exciting time. What I found was that with my technical background, we were uniquely equipped to help companies that were looking to set up online ordering. And especially my husband, he managed the largest data warehouse at Rockwell Automation, so worked with a lot of distributors and distributor data. And he gave me insight into the complexity that exists in the B2B space. And so we decided to focus our niche in B2B e-commerce. 9 years ago, my husband left his job at Rockwell, and now he leads our development team. We're a team of 16 in Milwaukee that specialize in e-commerce for manufacturers and distributors. I've been a speaker at IRCE's B2B workshop for the last 3 years, and at the Health Industry Distributors Association e-commerce strategy event that was in February, and a variety of other speaking opportunities. Today, I'll be covering 6 sections. First, I'll discuss site search. Then I'll be talking about strategic content and how to use it to better compete. I'll be talking about customized pricing, easy quote generation, quick onboarding, multiple payment options, and that's a lot. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. First up is site search. Grainger has 6% of the highly fragmented US MRO market. They have a goal of growing their market share by another 3 to 4%. One of their key strategies is investments in their on-site search. Grainger launched Zorro in 2011 to serve the US small business market through a web-only transaction-based model, and Grainger.com serves their larger customers. I think Zorro is a great example to look at. When someone comes to your site and searches, they're demonstrating intent. They're interested in buying, and you're much more likely to get the sale if the results that you show in your search lead them to the product that they're looking for. So let's take a look here at this example from Zorro. I've made a search here on ear protection, and a few things to highlight. First, I haven't yet hit enter, and yet you'll see it's making suggestions for what it thinks I might be searching on. I typed in ear protection. It's giving me some other ideas of what I might be wanting to search for. It's also showing me products that it thinks I might want. And it's doing a really nice job of showing me some really great product photography, showing me some important information around brand and pricing, and that's all before I've even hit enter. Once I hit enter, I'm going to go to a page of search results, and now I have options to narrow those searches by clicking on this left-hand toolbar around what category the products are in. I can also filter by brand and by price, and there are other options on that page as well as we go further down. Here I've hovered over one of the products, and when I hover over it, it's giving me an add to cart button that makes it really easy to move from that search results page directly into the shopping cart. So as we look at this, one of the things I want to highlight is the importance of good product data. You can have technology that enables a really powerful search, but if your product data isn't good, you're going to end up with a really poor performing search. So pay attention. Some of the things you can do right now, regardless of the search functionality and tools that you have, is take new product photography, improve that product photography. You can also be building out those product specifications you have and making sure you've got a good database of those attributes. So, and those are the things that we call product attributes facets. And facets are the things on the left-hand side of the page that we're narrowing by. So that can be size, it can be brand. In B2B, it can be other attributes though, things like volume and container type. Think about where the data is coming from in your system, who's providing the data, and how it's going to be maintained. And you may want to think about product information management software as a part of that. That's also often abbreviated PIM software. PIM software is a central repository of all of your product data that you can use to drive your print catalogs, your website. If you've got multiple websites or distributors you're sending data to, it can all come from that one system. The next example we're going to look at is New Pig. So the New Pig founders ran an industrial cleaning business in 1985. They put on their inventor hats and they came up with a product that they called the Pig Original Sock that helped to clean up spills. And this new business was born. Now they're in Tipton, Pennsylvania, and they've grown to close to 300 employees. What I want to highlight on this page is, again, you'll see the facets on the left that you can use to narrow the search. But one of the things that, a few of the things they're doing here that we didn't see before is they've got this bestseller icon that's on top of the leftmost product. So that's drawing our eye and giving us some more information. It's an image or text overlay that we can get some additional information that draws us to that product. In addition, those review stars are really powerful. This is the idea of social proof. So showing us that other people also like this product is a great way of increasing conversions on a product. And social proof can be a great thing to use both in your search results and throughout your site as a whole. So that's a little bit about search. Next up, we're going to talk about strategic content. And I think content is so important. And many times we're talking and working with businesses that have existed for 50 or 100 years and have built their business on with traditional sales teams. And they're newer to digital, and you're competing potentially against companies who have much larger digital budgets than yours. You're competing against Amazon and Grainger and these large digital companies. And so the question is, how do we compete when we're much smaller and newer to digital? And my answer for that is really content. You want to think about what are the things that your team knows that are really unique to you. What's your subject matter expertise, and how does that meet your target customers' pain points and their needs? What questions do you answer when you're on the phone with them that you know better than anyone else, and that are extremely helpful to your customers? This is your unique digital focus. And that's so important because when you think of a company like Amazon, there are things they can do really well in terms of the wide breadth of products and extensive functionality that they offer. But the thing they can't match is that subject matter expertise that you have internally. So really define what that is and then look for ways to build that out on your site through content. So I mentioned earlier that New Pig has products for spill containment, but more than that, they have a lot of fun with their marketing, and they're one of my favorite examples of how to stand out online and be unique. We see here in this on this resources page that they've got multiple resources that are really around this idea of different aspects of spill containment. And if you click into one of those articles, you get to read tips on spill containment. Here are the 5 main points of secondary containment regulations. And then at the bottom of this article, you find featured products that they want to highlight that are best sellers that they want to draw you into. So it's a great way to really combine content and commerce together. This next example that we're going to look at is Neogen Corporation. They're an international food safety company that provides comprehensive solutions for food processing, animal protein, and agricultural industries, and they protect the world's food supply. They're headquartered in Lansing, Michigan. They have more than 1,200 employees, and they serve customers worldwide. And they're another great example here of using their subject matter expertise and content here on this page. And then as you scroll down the page, you can see multiple products that you can move into from after looking and reading through their content. The reason that I wanted to highlight this example is that companies are increasingly global. And you can see in this instance that we're able to view the same page in multiple languages. So I'm switching here to German, and now I can see these products and the page navigation and the buttons, all of that has changed to German. And if I scroll back up the page content is also in German. So this is the other important thing for global companies to be thinking about, how to enable multi-language and multiple currencies for commerce sites when they're needing to compete globally. And so a really important thing to keep in mind. Next up is customized pricing. And for this, the first example we're going to look at here is Kimball Midwest. They are a distributor of industrial products headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. So in the B2B space, it's very common that you have different customers with different price points. And in many instances in B2B, you're going to ask people to log in before you'll show them a price. We'll look at some other examples where they handle it a little bit differently later, but you'll see, here's an example where again, you can narrow down from products on the left and you'll see the product here, but they're not showing a price. They're saying log in to get that pricing. When you think about customized pricing, some of the things that you need to consider are things that aren't easy to show online because they really have to do with what's happening on the back end. It has to do with the integration to your back office system or ERP. And you want to think through questions like, how often does your pricing change? And how is your pricing assigned and managed? And what happens if an integration is built to your ERP or back office system and all of a sudden that system goes down? Do you still want customers to be able to purchase online? And what does that mean? Does that mean that there's a cached version or the pricing's updated in batch, or is that in real time? All of those things are important considerations when you think about customizing pricing on your site. In addition, you want to think through things like bulk discounts and promotions, and how will those things interact with the customized pricing you've given your customers. The next example we're looking at here is warehouse lighting. And in their case, they're showing pricing to customers when you come to the site. You can see pricing on their site immediately. But they also have a preferred contractor partnership program that you can apply for. And as a part of this, they promise you specialized pricing. And so this is another way to handle pricing and customized pricing from a B2B perspective, is to have one level of pricing that you're showing to companies on the whole when they come to your site, or to customers on the whole, but then offering deeper discounts if people sign up for a special program or a further account with you. So we hit on customized pricing. Next up, we're going to talk about easy quote generation. And one of the reasons that I love B2B e-commerce on the whole is because it really enables not only you to grow revenue and your customer base, but also for you to be more efficient. It's really about making customers' lives easier, but also for your sales team, it'll make their lives easier too and enable them to sell more. And one of the ways this is true is by implementing easy quote generation features. And so this first example we'll look at here is First Place Supply. They're a family-owned industrial supplier that's headquartered in Houston. And if you go to a product page on First Place Supply, you're able both to add it to your cart, but you're also able to add it to a quote. And if you move onto the quoting page, you're able to then fill out your contact details and address and notes and submit that as a quote. That then a sales rep can get back to you with that quote, and that'll be sent to you. They can track that quote. That all happens through, in this case, it's powered by Quote Ninja and BigCommerce. So it just makes that really easy for someone to submit and request a quote from you. This next example is Cole Parmer. Cole Parmer. They're a leading global source of laboratory and industrial fluid handling products, instrumentation, equipment, and supplies. And so you'll see on their site, they've got request a quote functionality. If we go, it tells us, to request a quote, you're going to add items to your cart, and then you're going to start the quote request from your cart, or you can send in a note that, basically gives them your contact information and what you're asking for, and they can work with you directly to create that quote. But so in this instance, we've added some items to our cart, and then we can begin the quote request process here. This is powered by Insight software. One of the things that, the other thing that this example is helpful to see is that when you're on the sign-in page on this site, it's giving you a lot of reasons that you want to register. That enables you to track your quotes. It enables you to, see your account records and your order history and your invoices and tracking. So again, this idea of really making both your customers and your sales teams more efficient. And also I think on the sign-in screen, telling them the benefits of registering with you can be a really powerful way to go. So remember, for quote generation, it's all about simplifying the user experience. You may want to think about integrating those quotes with your CRM software, with your customer relationship management software. You want to think about how do you optimize your processes to send out those quotes quickly. So once they come in, how can you make sure you're turning them around quickly? And providing a link with the quote to allow them to quickly purchase and really save your sales reps time and improve your close rate overall. So next up, we're going to hit on quick onboarding. So quick onboarding is really about, so when we talk about some of these things like customized pricing specifically, you need to think about how are you going to help people get that specialized pricing if they've never purchased from you before, or maybe they have purchased from you before offline, but they've never purchased from you online. So that customer already has special pricing, but this is the first time they set up their account on their website. You also want to think about, do you want to let new users add items to your cart and then buy or not? Because then what pricing will you assign them? And you want to think through how much of this will you have be automated versus manual. Do you want your customer service reps to need to get involved, and that could potentially slow down the process? So up here, we've got an example from, this is actually from a demo site that we have, but what I wanted to show you here is, so this is a customer registration process where we're asking for the account number and purchase order number. And this is something that I've seen several companies do, and it's a way of asking for a few pieces of verifiable information that you can look up in your database. And once you see that account number and matching purchase order number, you can then assign that person who's signing in to the correct account and give them their pricing right away. This example that we're looking at here is PartsMaster. They're an industrial maintenance and repair organization that's headquartered in Dallas, Texas. And in this example, they needed the ability to have multiple users who are signing in within the same company account. And this is a part of quick onboarding, because once you have the first user who's set up and assigned to their account, they can then create other users within that same organization who are able to log in and place orders. And so this view is an example of the multiple customers that they have per account and the ability for them to move, to assign those users to different departments that they can order for. So those are all aspects of how you manage that onboarding process for your customers. So our last area we're going to talk about is multiple payment options. And the bottom line here is that you can win customers by making purchasing easier. So you want to think about enabling them to pay by purchase order, by ACH, e-check, credit cards, online credit management, which again is really what I talked about when customers want online credit management, and to make that easy, Approve is one of the examples that I point them to. And lastly, this idea of procurement integrations. So this is punch out, what we also call punch out solutions. And I've got this diagram here to help you kind of understand what this means. But this is the idea that especially if you have larger customers and they have an internal procurement system, that they have buyers who start their purchasing process in that procurement system, and the punch out solution takes them to your website where they can add products to their cart and then submit a purchase requisition that comes back into their purchasing system. And then there's an approver who can approve that budget and that purchase. And then it goes back out to your website to complete the order, and a purchase order is sent to your fulfillment system. And so there are systems out there that will interface with SAP, Ariba, Coupa, Dynamics 365, Oracle, and many others. And so that's the idea of a procurement integration. So we've hit on a lot of things on optimized search, strategic content, customized pricing, easy quote generation, quick onboarding, and multiple payment options. And that's the end of my presentation.